and understand oral instructions for a complex task and gives clear oral instructions for the same to others. These are the two competencies are there. And there are learning outcomes which are connected with these two uh, competencies and one curricular goal. One is that if child is able to listen attentively and speaks in short conversations with familiar people around. There are learning outcome which are connected with this. Another is initiates conversations in one curricular life with peers and one is that in a variety if child listens, first child is able to listen people, third is attentively and speaks in short conversations with familiar people around. There are learning outcome needs and ask questions. Engages in conversation, waits for their time to speak and allow others to speak. Maintains the thread of the conversation across multiple exchanges. So these are the learning outcomes and these are the the competencies and the curricular goal. This is the linkage between these three, which is very essential when you design your teaching strategies. And when I'm saying teaching strategies, assessment is a part of teaching learning, that strategy only. So for both the things you need to understand the linkages between these three things. Now another, this is I think from mathematics. There is one curricular goal: collects, organizes, represents graphically and in tables, and interprets data information from daily life experiences. This is one curricular goal of class 3 of mathematics, probably. What are the competencies connected with this? Collects, organizes data, and applies measures of central tendencies such as average, mean, mode, and median. No, I think this is for higher classes. Selects, creates, and uses appropriate graphical representation of data, include pictographs, bar graphs, histograms, line graphs, and pie charts. Now, learning outcomes with these competencies are: the learner arranges given collected information such as expenditure on different items in a family in the last 6 months in the form of tables, pictograph and bar graph, and interprets. If child is able to do this, then the competencies, you can say that that a particular child or particular group of children have these competencies. Then another is finds various representative values for simple data from his daily life context. Interprets data using bar graphs such as consumption of electricity in winter than summer. Draws and interprets bar charts and pie charts. This is one example of mathematics where you can see the interconnection between or linkages between curricular goals, competencies, and learning outcome. Now, you must be having a question, in your. This is very obvious question. So, what is the difference? I think one of the that in chats also they were asking about what is competency-based learning. So I think while going through these two slides, the question, I think you will be going to get your answer to your question also. What is the difference between traditional way of learning and competency-based learning? In traditional-based learning, the traditional way of learning focuses on memorizing and rote learning. So learning achieved from there is low quality and temporary. But in competency-based learning on demonstration of skills and knowledge, so learning outcomes are broad and holistic. Because I always, time and again I'm saying that demonstration is very, they have to show their competencies, whether they and they can apply in known and unknown situations. So learning outcomes are broad and holistic. It forces on qualitative and deeper learning. Another difference between these two is the traditional way of learning is based on a fixed mindset. It identifies the achievers, lower and higher achievers. On the basis of their marks, the teacher decide his or her learning and performance. But in competency-based learning, it is based on a growth-oriented mindset. It masters the skill to acquire the knowledge and achieve the learning outcomes. It prompts continuous improvement and performance. This is not for one time I'm measuring and giving kind of decisions about achievement or performance. My good, internet is very slow. It's not moving fast. It's not moving, na? Yes. Pedagogy. If on the terms of pedagogy, what is the difference between traditional and competence-based learning? Uh, in traditional learning, it adopts a single curriculum based on age, or we can say that one size fits to all pedagogy. But in competency-based learning, focus is on a multidisciplinary approach or interdisciplinary approach. It is based on learning of science, facts. Further, it promotes personalized learning also. As I told you also, that through that we come to know what a larger group of student knows or an individual knows and a small group knows. When we come to assessment in terms of their differences, here in traditional assessment is summative in nature and checks what the child learned. Further, it applies the one size fit all approach for assessment. Grade landmarks are awarded after completing the assessment and promoted to the next grade. But in competency-based learning, assessment is formative in nature, which we'll discuss a little bit in detail also. It focuses on assessment as learning and assessment for learning. I always like to discuss with teachers about assessment as learning. It is a positive way of assessment where students assess flexibility at their own pace, and assessment techniques are different from student to student. It's not one size fit to all. Now, let me start with a very basic, concept. How do you think about assessment? Assessment is a core component of pedagogy. It's not a separate from that, that if I say teaching learning process, it's a integral part of teaching learning process. It's not some teacher may understand that teaching and assessment are two different things, which is not. Which is not at all. So, assessment is a core component of pedagogy properly integrated into the learning cycle as a method of teaching that both two things reflects and contributes to learning. It reflects learning also and it contributes to learning also. So measure the performance of both learners and teachers. So this is, generally we think that its assessment is only measure performance of learners or students. No, it measures the performance of teachers also. And the information we collect, when we are doing assessment, whichever methods or whichever strategy you do, but it's a more beneficial for teachers to me as far as in my views. So that assessment is very, very, that important for teachers, and that's what we always say, that when you do assessment, please do record all, information or data, and then discuss with your peer teachers, and then come to new kind of strategies of teaching learning process. Now, we know that we do now have NCF of School Education 2023. Even in NCF School Education 2023, the focus of assessment should be on the specific ways of reasoning with each form of understanding and not merely the recall of facts. So the formal test and examination play a role with the expectation that student can process larger chunks of information together for analysis and synthesis. Analysis and synthesis is underlined. So because we need to develop our students as a critical and creative thinkers. Now, NEP 2020 says about assessment that transforming assessment of for student development. And if you see in Hindi version of that NEP 2020, it says that हमें assessment में आमूल चूल परिवर्तन करना है ताकि students का holistic development हो सके. NEP 2020 is more on formative assessment, and NEP 2020 very specifically says that reporting holistic 360-degree process. So we have to go for holistic assessment, which is a 360-degree, which measures the 360-degree progress of the child. So these three things are very, very important as far as school education is concerned. There are many things which has been said in that NEP 2020 about the assessment and examination reforms. Now, earlier we used to use two terms for us in assessment. One is called formative assessment, another is called summative assessment. There also assessment for learning and assessment as learning is a part of formative assessment. And the third one is assessment of learning is called, earlier we used to call it summative assessment. Though we are using these words, but now across the globe, generally that assessment is that discussed about these three phrases: assessment for learning, assessment as learning, and assessment of learning. So these three things are there. Philosophically, assessment for learning and formative assessment, as we used to discuss earlier also, there is no difference. But assessment as learning now across the globe, पूरी दुनिया में अब assessment as learning के बारे में काफी कुछ कहा जा रहा है, और वो थोड़ा सा हम डिस्कस भी करेंगे आपके साथ अभी कुछ अगली स्लाइड्स में. क्या खास बात है असेसमेंट एज लर्निंग में, है ना? तो वो हम बात करते हैं. Assessment of learning, आप सबको पता है, assessment of learning refers to assessment processes that summarize and report students' achievement at a given point in time. Generally, जो हम 10वीं के रिजल्ट, 12वीं के रिजल्ट, एनुअल जो एग्जामिनेशन के रिजल्ट, 6 मंथ का रिजल्ट्स हैं, उनको जो हम कहते हैं वो दिस इज assessment as learning, which is similar to summative assessment. And every kind of, even summative assessment has its role and benefits and some limitations. That is with every kind of strategy. So assessment of learning, sometimes referred to as a formative assessment, has been defined as all those activities undertaken by teachers and by the students in assessing themselves, which provide information to be used as a feedback to modify the teaching and learning activities in which they are engaged. What is the beauty of formative assessment for learning and formative assessment? That this assessment is taking place when teaching learning process is on or is continued. What is the benefit of assessment for learning or formative assessment? To me is then, since we are taking feedback when the process of teaching learning process is on, or it's going on, or it's continuous, then whatever feedback I'm getting, I have full opportunity to make intervention according to that feedback which I got from my assessment strategies to improvise my teaching learning process. Then and there, what is the drawback of summative assessment? I come to know about the students learning. I'm getting the feedback when teaching learning process has gone. I mean, that's we have already taken place, and then I come to know that my students are, need hand holding in a particular concept or in a particular subject. Then I can't go back. But in formative assessment, I can immediately go back and improvise my strategies. Yes. Assessment as learning क्या है? Assessment as learning is very, it's very interesting. It's also called formative assessment because this is also going when the process of teaching learning is going on. It's continuous. Is in classroom only. So assessment that actively involves learners and encourage them to think about the way they learn. Informative assessment basically is driven by the teacher, and students are acting on the direction of the teacher. But in assessment as learning, students are taking independently their decisions, or even if teacher is taking a decision, they are part and parcel of that decision. So assessment that actively involves learner and encourages them to think about the way they learn, or it comprises learner reflection and peer and self-assessment. It encourages students to take responsibility of their own learning. When you are involving students in making, any strategy or any decision about the assessment, then of course they will own their learning. Requires students to ask questions about their learning. This ask question is again I am putting underline. Now again I am coming to you. At least two teachers will let me know uh, how many questions on average your students are asking in your class, in one class. On average, just your experience. Not, I don't want exactly number, but just like an idea. Two teachers, or maybe more also. Maybe one from each. Madam, all these teachers are TGTs, PRT, or all?
Groups across all levels.
All levels. Okay, fine, fantastic. So I would love to have one PRT, one TGT, one PGT, please. I really want to know how students are asking questions. Yeah. 4 to 5.
In chat also.
Sorry. No, I'm asking child only. How many questions child are asking to you, on averages? 4 5 children are asking, or yeah. I'm about students. Student are asking questions or not? Yes. One said 4 5. Yeah. You can write in your chat box also. Please quickly. Come on.
Teachers are requested to be quick and they can write. Also,
Hardly
they can
any.
unmute themselves.
Depend upon the topic. No, that's fine, but don't give this vague answers. Right? Give me numbers. 4 5 2 3. I mean, whatever you are teaching, any maximum wala you can give. Okay, fine. Yes, fine. I mean, what I can get is that if the topic is tough, so questions are many. Of course, that's fine. I mean, I can understand that. No, come on. It depends on the topic, of course. But even in, I mean, apart from the topic, I just want to know whether students are in habit of asking questions. In difficult topics, of course, they may ask many questions. Even in easy topics is they can ask questions also. That's not a because that question can make even if it is an easy topic, they will ask questions and then they will go for application and further and further and further. What I just want to know that there is I could not find very rich culture of asking questions in classrooms, which is a worry to me and to all teachers also. That I'll connect this. Why I'm asking this? I'll connect this to further slides also, because if students are not asking questions, it's a serious issue. Very serious issue. And as far as the questions, teachers are asking questions or teachers are putting in questions, it's altogether different. And this, to me, it's an art and science. But that's a different issue. We can discuss hours on that also. Anyway, so it occurs when learners reflect on and regulate and monitor their learning progress. So what is the major difference between assessment for learning and assessment as learning to me is that assessment for learning is completely driven by or guided by the teacher. But here in assessment as learning is, assessment as taking as a tool for learning. Assessment is not as a tool. You should not, design or make, Please keep in mind that take assessment as a tool for learning, not assessment as a tool to know how much a student has learned. So through assessment, that you should give learning opportunities also, and let the student, question their learning. And I'm sure you might have heard a term metacognition. If not, please read at least devote few hours to know about metacognition. I'm sure you might have heard about it. So it focuses on teaching students the metacognitive process to evaluate their own learning and make adjustments. If metacognition is what? Thinking about one's thinking. More precisely, it refers to the process used to plan, monitor, and assess one's understanding and performance. Metacognition includes a critical awareness of one's thinking and learning. That's what I'm asking. How many questions on average your student asking in a classroom, irrespective of the subject or the complexity of the topic? We have to develop a culture of asking questions. We have to encourage our students to ask questions. Asking questions is simply not an asking. There are wonderful, benefits, and you can assess also through questioning. Questioning the complexity of the topic as the students learning. We have to develop a yes. This is not end of my presentation. This is what is questioning. Why I'm very serious about that the scenario of asking questions in classroom, especially in government schools, because we do have, at least I do have much exposures to government schools across the country. It's a serious issue, and I request NEST also to please, we have to make, we have to encourage this culture in our schools to ask questions by students and put relevant questions by the teachers, so that to encourage students to ask questions, because that will aid to their, qualitative and deeper learning. Until unless they will not cast question, I'm not sure about they become a critical thinker, and they can get deeper learning. If any learner is not asking questions to himself or herself or on his learning. Now, coming to that questioning. Questioning helps students to develop their thinking from the lower order concrete and factual recall type to higher order analytical and evaluative, which promotes deeper understanding. Questioning is important to clarify, to understand and reinforce learning. We know affective, psychomotor and cognitive domains. So remember affective attitudes and psychomotor like skills as well as cognitive which is knowledge, ज्ञान. So दृष्टिकोण, कौशल, ज्ञान जो 3 domains हमारी affective, psychomotor and cognitive domains है. The level of all 3 can be raised with effective questions. So we can have another session sometimes on questioning, how what is that's what I'm saying, that questioning is for teachers, for the questioning is an art and science both. So this is very, very important. As far as teachers to have assessment also, it's very, very, very effective and very common, kind of assessment tool. So aim to create a culture where an incorrect answer is viewed as a learning opportunity. Please read this. If you can see this 2 line, I don't know whether you clearly can see these lines, these 2 lines. Please read twice this underline. Aim to create a culture where an incorrect answer is viewed as a learning opportunity. What we do generally to a wrong answer is, or incorrect answer is, the child is, उसको चुप करा दिया जाता है, make shut up. चुप, उसको डिस्कस नहीं होता है. So I think this culture we have to develop to have a qualitative and equal learning. I think you all will agree with me on this, that we aim to create a culture where an incorrect answer is viewed as a learning opportunity. Oh, yeah.
फिर कब जाएंगे? 6:30 बजे। अच्छा, फिर उसमें से किसको लेके चलेंगे?
It's very slow, भाई.
काम करो बना, पोछा लगा दो सब। दिख रहा है काम कर रही? दिखता नहीं है नहीं। उसमें इसलिए बड़ा माया बन गया। पोछा लगाने के लिए चश्मा, कब दाढ़ी काम दे।
Yeah, sorry. It's taking a lot of time. I'm sorry. Now, आप क्रिटिकल थिंकिंग की बहुत बात करते हैं, हम सभी बात करते हैं और बहुत जरूरी भी है. It's very essential to develop critical thinking in our children. Not for to understand math, physics, chemistry or something else. It's very essential when they will go to world of work also. When they will become a adult, to have so I mean, and this questioning is one of the tools to make them critical thinkers. So asking questions and using the answers to understand the world around us is what drives critical thinking. For example, we can ask questions like that: what are the strengths and weaknesses of so and so? What is the difference between? Explain why and how. What would happen if this is something that out of box, I mean, they have to apply their learning. What about if so and so, if this is not there? Like that. So critical thinking skills are crucial for independent thinking and problem solving in both our students' professional and personal lives. Critical thinking through writing also you can develop in children. Writing converts students from passive to active learners and require them to identify issues and formulate hypotheses and arguments. Writing requires that students make important critical choices and ask themselves what information is most important, like that. What might be left out? What is that I think about this subject? और जो आजकल जो सोशल मीडिया का जो इश्यूज हैं सोशल मीडिया पे लोग और खासकर यंग बच्चे जो बहुत they love it. I mean, there are uses of social media. I'm not saying it, but a lot of that misinformation, fake information is coming to young children, and if they are not critically looking at that, then they will be in a problem. You know that, I mean, when the information, you all know it, you will all agree with me that how fast an information is coming to young children, whether he is in class 5 or whether he is in class 8 or whether she is in class 12. And this fast, that consumption of information may change behavior and attitude of young minds, which sometimes happens also when the child is not looking at them critically, when the child is not putting question to that information, whether it's on social media, whether it's in newspaper, or whether it's in magazine. It's very, very important that you ask question to your learning. If any piece of video is coming to me through social media or through any WhatsApp group or social media group, please tell all children to put a question in front of that information. Is this information is right? Is this information is age appropriate? Is this information is going to give me something which is beneficial for me? Is this information is fake? Is this information is right? That's very, very useful in day-to-day life also. If you develop a habit of asking questions in your children, they will not learn maths, physics, chemistry in deeper way, but they will learn they will be very successful in other personal lives. So that is why how important is critical thinking or asking questions. Yeah.
इसको क्या साबित करा है इसको खोल के ठीक है यार
Yeah, sorry. Now, sorry. Fine, but we are doing all efforts to develop critical thinking, creative thinking in our classrooms. But how you will assess that whether our children are developed critical thinking, creative thinking, and other 21st century skills or not? So assessing critical thinking skills establish clear criteria for evaluating critical thinking, and effective criteria measures which skills are present, to what extent and which skill required for their development. It's not so easy to, but there are simpler way also. The following are characteristics of work that may demonstrate effective critical thinking. One is accurately and thoroughly interprets evidence. If child is able to interpret evidence accurately and thoroughly, or statements or graphics or questions or some other material, then you can say that they have developed effective critical thinking. Ask relevant questions. if a particular child is asking very relevant questions, then it's fine. Analyzes and evaluates key information and alternative points of view clearly and precisely. Fair-mindedly examines beliefs, assumptions, and opinion and weighs them against facts. Draw insightful, reasonable conclusions, justify inferences and opinions. Thoughtfully address and evaluate major alternative points of views. Thoroughly explains assumptions and reasons. If a child is demonstrating all these, we may say that fine. I mean, child has developed critical thinking. Now, I mean, the importance of questioning is in our ancient, that knowledge also, in ancient systems also. So we have a long and ancient tradition of questioning in India, rather across the globe also. Debate and discussions have always been held a critical part of Indian knowledge tradition. For example, the Upanishads were written in response of the questions of Shishyas. The literal meaning of the word Upanishad is sitting down near the Guru. I mean, sitting down of Shishyas near the Guru. The usual method of argument utilized regions and went from simple to complex, from concrete to abstract, from known to unknown. In the Katha Upanishad is the powerful story of Nachiketa, a young boy who dared to ask Yama, the Lord of Death, a very simple but fundamental question: is there life after death, or is death the end? Many more examples are there which we find in our, Indian traditions, right from the ancient times. So that's what I just want to give you some examples that it's not a new thing, or it's not very, that I'm just advocating right now. But right from the, that ancient time, the questioning is a very, very important aspect of the system. Another good thing was said in NEP 2020 about assessment, that you have to go for 360-degree progress. You have to assess 360-degree progress. I mean, you have to assess cognitive part also, you have to assess social-emotional part also, and you have to assess the behavioral part also. So, for that we need to have quality assessment. We all are very, very crazy about quality, whether it's you are going to buy a cloth, or you're buying to instrument, you're buying to mobile. We all need quality. So that is true with assessment also, with the assessment strategy also. That assessment has to be of a quality. And for quality, I'm just speaking this time on two aspects. One is called authenticity, and another is engagement. That your assessment has to be authentic, and your assessment is able to engage students fruitfully. So authentic assessment is what? What is authentic assessment? You will have a very obvious question. That encourage students to take a deep approach to learning, provide necessary alignment for teacher to better determine the quantity and quality of student learning. Authentic assessment are based in real world relevance. This is very, very important. That they are based in real world relevance. I mean, in that sense, if those are related to real world assessment, real world relevance, then they are contextualized also. So authentic assessment include activities that closely match real world tasks, designed to actively engage students in their own learning by using real life situations, requiring students to make connections and forge relationship between prior knowledge and skills, and allowing for multiple pathways for solution and a diversity of perspective. I mean, the assessment tool which is not dependent on one way only, but alternative ways also, and any assessment is having these kind of characteristics is called authentic assessment. Another is called authentic assessment are also highly engaging learning opportunities that can help foster students' higher order thinking skills such as communicating, solving problem collaboratively, and thinking critically. A noteworthy characteristic of authentic assessment is it is collaborative in nature, right? So if your assessment is of quality, then I mean, students can learn 21st century skills like collaboration, problem solving, critical thinking, which are very, very important for day-to-day life also, its personal life also, or when they will go to world of work also. So that is what I'm saying, that you have to have quality assessment strategies. One of the important assessment strategy is self-assessment, which is very, very integral part of assessment as learning. Because when you are using self-assessment in your classrooms, you are giving them a opportunity while having a self-assessment as an assessment strategy through which they can learn many things. So self-assessment is defined as the involvement of learner in making judgments about their achievements and the outcomes of their learning, and is a valuable approach to supporting student learning. Self-assessment is one of the most important skills that students require for future professional development and lifelong learning, as it develops their capacity to be assessor of learning. In a way, self-assessment is a very, very good tool to develop critical thinking also. And here I just want to request to all teachers who are teaching in early stages, for example, class 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, please do apply a self-assessment. This is for all, but generally there is a kind of opinion about in teachers that in early classes, I mean, self-assessment is not that. I mean, it's difficult to administer self-assessment in classroom in very early stages. I don't think it's true. But if you start, having self-assessment in early classes, by the time they will reach to 6, 7, 8, 9, they will have a wonderful, communication, confidence, and collaborative skills, uh, and that will, help to develop as a critical thinker, as well as that will help them to achieve in their grades also in a greater way. Similarly, peer assessment is also one of the that important aspect, uh, which is advocated in assessment as learning also. So peer assessment is an assessment which allows students to assess each other performance. It can be extremely valuable in helping students to learn from each other by listening, analyzing, and problem solving. It gives students the opportunity to encounter diversity in different ways, critique and judge, and ultimately, students learn how to be responsible for their own learning. And here I just want to request all of you. Of course, everybody knows about peer tutoring, I mean peer assessment. Uh, Please try to in different way also. It's not only 1-to-1. You can have 1-to-2, 2-to-1, 1-to-3, like that also. I mean, you can make any kind of combinations also. Of course, one is being giving that opinion on others, but for example, there is a student A on the on any kind of, if you have taken some test or some that any kind of assessment you are taking place in classroom, then you can get assessment of child A by B, C, D also. You will have a different perspective. Even child will have a different perspective. It's not always 1-to-1. You can try 1-to-2, 1-to-3 also, 2-to-3, 2-to-4 also. That would be interesting. You just sometime try in your classrooms. That will give quite a good, qualitative information and diverse information aspect of not only of that cognitive improvement, but otherwise also. Portfolio, I know I'm not going to go into detail, but portfolio is one of the wonderful, tool to assess creativity. This is rather to me, this is the only tool which can, assess creativity. This is a wonderful tool, of course, a little bit time consuming. I don't know in your class, in your schools, whether you are maintaining portfolio or not, but at least uh, when you want to know creativity among children, there is no other way to have portfolio. So portfolio is otherwise is also very important. It's not only in creative assessing creativity, but other subjects also. You have proof in front of parents or in front of officials about any kind of progress of a child in a particular area. It may be music, it may be drawing, it may be otherwise, it may be physics, chemistry also, it may be languages also. So you have proof in front of you. You can convince anyone, either parent, officials, or whatever it is, that this child is good in music, this child is good in drawing, this child is good in sports, this child is good in mathematics. Fine. In fact, portfolio intends to illustrate the actual work of student, है ना? Illustrate students' progression in learning over time, both for the teacher and the student. Enhance teacher and students' involvement in evaluation. Provide opportunities for students' choice and decision making regarding the preparation and evaluation of portfolios. The greatest value of portfolio is that students become active participants in the learning process and its assessment, which is assessment as learning. चलिए, और एक बहुत कॉमन आप लोग सभी करते हैं पेपर पेंसिल टेस्ट, है ना? सभी करते हैं ना डॉक्टर अलका? आई थिंक एवरीबॉडी इज डूइंग. Yes, I mean, at least in higher classes, everybody must be doing. Yes, good, thank you. Here, yes, I want to give you some certain advice about paper pencil test or objective type test, basically. है ना? I don't know whether you are developing your questions for day-to-day assessment, and do you have centralized question papers, Dr. Alka? Or anybody else? Do you have centralized paper for 6 months, well, mid semester or final year of all classes, or school develops their own question papers, leaving class 10th, 12th? Shukla ji, Pankaj ji, I don't know. No, sir, what is no? I don't. We prepare our questions for students. Good. School develops. Fantastic. Good. Thank you. Fine. School develops. Okay, got it. So I just give few hints to that to how to develop better multiple choice questions. I'm not going in much detail. Again, we can have 2-hour sessions on or workshop on how to develop question, multiple choice questions specifically, and others questions also. So to use, I mean, you all know there are 4 options. There are always 4 options, except in classes, I mean, in small classes, I always prefer to have less options, maybe 3 also, but generally we do have 4 options. In these 4 options, we have, one is correct answer and 3 are called distractors. So these distractors are very, very important. Please don't take it very lightly. These distractors are important information for school, at least at school level and at overall level also. So common student misconceptions, perhaps from open-ended response from previous work. So जो आपको 3 distractors बनाने हैं ना, वो you have to take very carefully you have to do, because one key is factual. That is fine, but other 3 is very, very important, and there should be kind of misconception. Distractor means it should be those options have all capability to distract the child.
ना हो कोई भी हो काम के टाइम में याद आते बनते हैं वैसे कोई
And then you come to know that which are the concepts. And then after exams, generally what we do is we take roll number one has 60%, other has 70%, 5%, so and so, and submit to the authority. If you have time, or rather you have to make a kind of the culture that please do analyze the distractors. Please do analyze the wrong answer. What is the pattern of wrong answers in your school in a particular grade? Then you come to know, array, this is the misconception within our students. And then this is very good information to your authority also. And then you can find across the school also. That for example, if I'm getting something very peculiar in algebra, what about the other schools? And then you can devise a centralized, kind of strategy also, either to develop material or to have a training on that particular issue. Or otherwise at school level also you can discuss that issue and then improvise your strategy, either with some worksheets or some you change your strategy of teaching learning in that particular concept. But your distractors are very, very good information. Only two things you have to keep in mind. One is while writing distractors, please don't take it, take it seriously, rather I would say. Another is please analyze the wrong answers in a particular test. Or you can use other kind of question also, use assertion and reasoning type question. I'm not going to teach you here what is the benefit of multiple choice question and what is the drawback of multiple choice question. I think you all are seasoned teachers, you know it. But if anytime if we get an opportunity, we can discuss in detail also. So another type of question, multiple choice question you can use is use assertion and reasoning type questions. The distinctions made in item complexity ensure that test item will assess the depth of student knowledge at each benchmark. The intent of the item writer weighs heavily in determining the complexity of a test item. I must share with you, to me, I find very difficult to make easy multiple choice questions because of the distractors. Because in easy, that any concept which is easy for students, to find distractor is the most difficult for me. So, I mean, even if you are making easy question, please look into the distractors. This is one simple assertion and reasoning question. I think you are all in the habit of having all these questions because CBSE also says about it that some are multiple choice questions, some are reasoning. What is the benefit of assistant reasoning is in multiple choice question you don't know whether the child sorry child has attempted correctly, you know it, but you can't make out whether the concept of that particular subject or particular area is clear to the child or not. But somehow in assertion and reason you can find the little bit, you can go in little bit depth rather than the multiple choice question. This is I just made it, that you all know. Even the policy says that you have to have stress-free education. This is for early stages, class 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You can see the picture, no? You can see picture very clearly. Just through this picture I just want to say that you can design your assessment strategy which are stress free, enjoying. हम हमेशा पॉलिसी भी कहती है और हमेशा हम भी कहते हैं कि you should have that fun in assessment. I'm not saying fun means that you dilute the the seriousness of the assessment. But assessment has to be interesting. Assessment has to lead to learning. assessment is a very strong connect between learning and
पैसे नहीं होते
teaching.
अपने लिए हो जाते हैं।
It's a very strong connect.
तो
So
300 को हो जाते हैं, 5-6 हजार रुपए नहीं होते हमारे लिए।
हर बार
there are, I mean, through this picture you can teach them so many things. You can assess so many things, whether it's maths, whether it's physics, whether it's a EVS, whether it's a language. Because I earlier said also this particular example is fit for class 1 to 5, and generally in class 1 to 5 we have 3 subjects only: EVS, language, EVS, and mathematics. So all 3 you can teach them also, you can assess them also, and you can put so many situation if it is not there, if it is there, to assess the critical thinking also. You can assess even socio-emotional behavioral issues also through this. You can ask out of the box questions also here. Or any child can ask out of the box question here, right? And I'm sure you must be having a very good experience in your classrooms also when child asks out of box questions, which you sometimes find difficult to answer also
किसी से मंगाया तो तुमने तो लाके ही नहीं दिया।
straight away.
तुमने क्या
So
लाके दे दिया बताओ ना।
through this slide, I just want to tell you
मेरे को तुमने कभी कुछ लाके दिया?
that you
तुम बता
साथ
दो।
ले
हाँ।
जाएगा,
साथ ले जाने का क्या होता है?
Please do
तुमने कभी लाके दिया है?
तुम्हारी पसंद की चीज तो मैं
use
बता रहा हूँ,
assessment
मेरी
strategy
पसंद की
in a
मैंने
stress-free
पहले ही यहाँ पे आके
environment.
एक
उससे बड़ी क्या चीज, तुम में बिहारी वाली चीजें।
I always say assessment is
मैंने
not
मेरी
only
पसंद
to
की एक
know
चीज नहीं पहनी।
what my student know,
मैं क्यों बोलूं?
but
ये सूट तुम्हें किसकी पसंद
it's
का पहना है?
ये
giving
तुमने दिया।
insight for learning other things also. It's not only what they learn,
ये मेरी माँ
but
से
they
लेके
learn
आई, मेरी
further
माँ से
also.
लेके। ये भी ये मैं सूट के साथ लेके आई थी, दूसरा इसके साथ मैंने मैच कराई।
वो नहीं हो रहा है. Another issue when assessment is, okay, how to assess creativity. In fact, what is creativity is, if you're trying to define creativity, आप कहते होंगे ना कई बार कई बच्चों को ये बहुत creative बच्चा है. It's, I mean, there are certain things, that personal creativity characteristics होती है बच्चों में जब आप observe भी करते होंगे. You might be observing certain, characteristics in children on the basis of which you are saying, oh, she is very creative, he is very creative child. So generally, theoretically, these 4 things generally we see the child, we say he or she is a creative. Means generating ideas, digging deep into ideas, listening to one's inner voice, openness and courage to explore ideas. These are certain things which is theoretically, said in researches that if a child is having these kind of personal characteristics, then we call it creativity characteristics. But in front of me being a teacher is how to assess creativity. So this is important for me. So one important way to obtain information about people's creativity is through their actual behavior, their creative products, performances or accomplished. This is what is portfolio we are doing in portfolio. What we do in portfolio? We collect, that students' creative work or day-to-day work, whether it's mathematics test, whether it's a drawing, whether any certificate in sports or something else. So whatever child is doing, we are putting them in a file which we call as a portfolio. Another way is to that assess creativity is one is self-report data. We call it self-assessment. On some occasion, it is possible to obtain information about people's creativity from the responses they provide to questions about themselves and their behavior. And that is what we are doing through self-assessment also. We ask student to tell about himself or herself, what she likes, what do you like, what do you want to be, what are the difficulties in learning, so on. So all kind of that we ask child to speak about himself or herself. So through that I can have self-reported data, and on the basis also we can assess the creativity of the child. Rating scales, ask people to rate the creativities of others. There are rating scales are also, and this we can do through peer assessment also. I can ask to rate on certain parameters to a child about the other child. This is called peer assessment. There are certain standardized tests also to assess creativity. Refers to person's response to a structured set of tasks or questions administered under control or standardized conditions, through which the person demonstrates his or her ability to think or respond creatively. So through that also we can assess creativity amongst the children. Yes. Here again, one innovative things I just want to share with you. When you are making questions, whether it's a multiple choice question or whether it's a multiple choice question or a open-ended question, you can teach human values through questions also, through assessment also, which is interesting. You will find very interesting. And I'm sure you all can create questions like that. And I'll be happy if you all can create at least 2 questions in your particular subject, which have human values in it. This is task for today's session. Please create at least 2 questions where you can inbuilt human values of your interest area. Yes, Dr. Alka? Or anybody from NESTS?
Hanji, yes, sir. Sorry, sir, I missed. You were saying something, sir?
I'm sorry, you are not Ashok. Sorry, it's okay.
Yeah.
No, I'm just saying after this slide, I'm requesting to your all teachers to please construct 2 questions which
Yes, sir.
which have human values and that's not I mean it's mathematics, science, language, whatever you want to ask. Can you make that kind of questions which have human values? I'm giving 3 examples here.
So you want them to respond and frame it right away as an exercise?
Not now.
Later they can send across?
Yes, I think so. I mean we don't
Okay,
have
so
much
you
time.
can share your mail ID in the chat.
Ashu, they can share with you because they know.
Okay.
I mean, I don't want. At least you also have a record.
Then
Then you can share with me, and then we can give feedback to all that.
Sure. So, as directed by sir, I would request our school teachers and even principals to kindly follow what sir is saying, and you can send across your make your submissions and send across at NES mail ID. You all must be having NES mail ID with you, and then as sir wants, we'll be passing it on to sir.
And then if we can get some opportunity, I can
Yes, sir.
discuss what is what I mean, each question we can discuss which kind of parameter it is fitting into, and how
Yes,
it
yes,
is,
sir.
and
Certainly.
what is not right here and what is right here in this question.
We can have a follow-up session, sir. We can schedule it in that way.
Fantastic. So
Great.
let me discuss the first question is, I mean, Ashush, we do have time till 6, or you tell
So till
till
6 we have time.
okay.
So you can start wrapping up or summarize, sir, 10 minutes prior. You can target it as such, sir.
Fine. I think I don't have much slides now.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. Okay, fine. The very first question is that 7 children went to collect mangoes and agreed to share. They picked 245 mangoes. How will they find out how many they will get each? Anybody can tell me where is a human value here, and uh, and how you can kind of uh, make it more. You can make more changes or something like that. Yes, at least first share with me. But where is a human value here?
Mean if you could allow them rights to unmute themselves. स्कूल्स को राइट्स प्रोवाइड कर दीजिए अपने आप को अनम्यूट कर दें तो
I think
प्रिंसिपल्स एंड टीचर्स
अब तो हम लास्ट फेज में हैं. You please
हाँ
you can
जी
unmute them and let them come up.
गीतांजलि भूषण मैम यू कैन शेयर यू कैन अनम्यूट योरसेल्फ एंड शेयर
वैसे बहुत कम बच्चे जाएंगे मैडम, 700 रुपये मांग रही है, क्या पता किसी के पेरेंट्स दे दे कि चल यार बच्चा पहली बार जाएगा.
Share is a human value. I understand. Yes. Fine, fine. ठीक है. I think everybody is very clear. So it's easy that children went to collect mangoes and agreed to share. Generally, when the children go collect to something, whether it's a mango or whether it's something else, blueberry or something, or even uh, some other thing, they generally say that I have collected this much, I have right to this. But when they are going in a team and agreed to share equally, is a teamwork also, and uh, sharing is one of the big issue nowadays with young children. So cooperation and so on. So many things are there, and you can play further also in in some maybe class 5, 6 also. Say for example, if this is not completely divisible.
गाना सुनो बहुत अच्छा है, अभी चलेगा गाना.
Or is completely divisible by 7. But if it is not divisible by 7, for example, I say 9 children went to collect mangoes and agreed to share. They picked up 245 mangoes, and if they have something in remained, then how do they make a group and then try to find out what they are saying it? No, this is the extension of that question. If, for example, 245 is that this is divisible by 7, fine, they will find something, a common number. But if it is not divisible exactly, say for example, I'll say 9 children went to collect mangoes and agreed to this, then it's not divisible, completely divisible by 9. We have a remainder. Then you ask the student, discuss about this. What do you will do? You will find an interesting, kind of conversation between children. And then you can make out, the kind of, you can assess behavioral things and social emotional issue also, right? Apart from mathematics. Similarly, if you go to Nandu, in second question, no, Nandu helps his elderly neighbors. So helping elderly neighbor is nowadays is a big issue. For 1/4 of an hour every week night and for 1 hour at the weekend. How much time does he spend helping her in 1 week? So recently it was discovered that a clean engine, this is also, I mean, all these three things are there, but I'm saying this not simply, you have to find out of box kind of activities also, or some challenging activities to children to give them, kind of, ah, someone sacrifice some mangoes. That's a very good thing. And some will out of nine, some will say that I'll take
अब एक
more
बाजी
mangoes.
लगाना
I'll take. Someone say no, no, okay, fine. I'll take this. You take. You all divide between eight. Maybe like that. And this would be interesting. I don't know what the different groups may act in different way. So you just try to. I mean, while doing assessment, don't go kind of typical things. Also, try to find out something out of box, and you will get. Why I'm saying is you will get a wonderful information out of that. The 360-degree wala information you will get. So that's what I'm saying. Please try to construct some questions where human values are there. One thing, and then how further you can play with that. Questions to have more to put more complex situations in front of children. That will make them, kind of not only uh, clear their concept in mathematics, but that will, help them to become mature, sharing, uh, kind of thing. They will, in a real sense, they will come out as a global citizen. So that's what just want to say, that through assessment you can do wonderful things. It's not only that teaching mathematics formula or having language comprehension or something like that, or teaching grammar is only. Through assessment is a wonderful thing. They will, and there are other benefit also when you involve children in such things. I'll discuss in next slide. I don't know, you might have never thought of how assessment is useful
ये कपड़े धो ले
in developing education systems.
डाल
Look, these are the benefit
सड़क
of
तो आप डाल
assessment.
ये
Assessment can positively impact a number of key areas which are important aspect of education reforms, such as student-teacher relationship. Say, for example, if you are assessing them having these kind of innovative ideas, I mean, uh, innovative ideas like this, then uh, and they are part and parcel of your assessment strategies. The student-teacher relationship increase. They become more positive. This researchers are saying. I'm not saying. Teachers' ability to personalize instructions uh, through assessment, as I already said, told you, that through assessment we can come to know about a larger group, a smaller group, or individual also. So teacher has ability to, I mean, if you have individual information, so a teacher can give personalized instruction to a child also. Acquisition of 21st century skills, as I told you, critical thinking, creativity, communication, confidence, collaboration, all these things also, that sharpened by assessment strategies. I'm not saying only by assessment, but assessment can add to all these, uh, characteristics. Student engagement. Of course, if for example, I shown that picture in early grades, every child will get engaged in that kind of picture, and then you can find out so many things out of that discussions with the children. Student metacognition. This is one area where I think we have to take very seriously through assessment, or otherwise also we have to develop student metacognition skills, and these are teachable skills. I must tell you, मेटाकोग्निशन इज ए टीचेबल स्किल्स. इसमें ये नहीं है कि ये बच्चे का जन्म से है, भगवान की देन है, सो एंड सो. नो, यू कैन टीच इन स्कूल्स, you can teach in classrooms. In the last, just I want to say it that since you are preparing at school level, whenever you are preparing any kind of question paper, whether it's a multiple choice question or a uh, other question, open-ended questions, please keep in mind each and every child of your classroom. You should have at least something for each and every child to write. Why I'm saying this is especially for early grades. Rather, it's essential for all grades, but I just want to tell you one thing, which is research based also. Researchers have found out that if you know that you're making assessment can lead to anxiety or disliking of a particular subject. For example, if you are having if you are making a question paper which is quite difficult, and some of the children in each and every test are not able to perform, or they are getting very less mark, or they are getting almost zero, that may lead to a disinterest in that particular subject. The child may get kind of disinterest in that particular subject, because each and every time he or she is not able to perform as per your test. And this happens generally in class 3, 4, 5, 6. So I request to all teachers to please keep in mind to have at least for each and every child while designing a question paper or a test, whether it's a classroom test or whether it's a weekly test, 6 monthly test, or whatever it is. You are the best judge to know about your classroom, that what kind of things children know. So please have questions which can be attempted by all children. So I think thank you very much for this. If you have any questions to that, yeah.
So much, sir, for such an enriching session. I would urge our principals and teachers. Now the floor is open for you to clarify your doubts, any observations, any more learnings you want on any particular topic, any clarity you are seeking. You can ask sir about the same.
तुम क्यों चिढ़ते हो?
Schools can unmute themselves. They have the rights to unmute self.
How to stop sharing? I'm not finding it.
So,
Yes, please.
sir, as I wrote in the chat box earlier, that hardly any students ask any questions in the classrooms. I have been teaching English, and it's not that they don't ask in my class only. Whatever class I visit, I have seen the students in my district. Even there was a time when I was a part of a survey, when I had to go to different schools to, observe something. There also I have found that children here, the tribal children here, are really reluctant to ask any questions. There are many students who are doing really great in academics, and they're good performers also. But I don't find anybody asking any questions. I don't know what to do.
Yes, this is a quite. That's what I'm also saying. We are also visiting across the nation. This is one thing which I don't know how to. I mean, we have to work hard on putting all this. One generic thing is that which I found in some of the school or some of the teachers. I mean, until unless we will not relate our teaching to real world or world around them, it's difficult to appreciate that knowledge whatever they are getting in classrooms, to relate with the, I mean, we have to relate. This is what our teacher had need to do. that we have to relate our, teaching to their world around them. This is one way we have to, uh, and then certainly they will appreciate this, whatever is going in classroom, and then they may come up with other questions, certain questions. Another thing which sometimes I found, especially in your clientele, language may be an issue also. I don't know, each and every child, you must be having Hindi medium or English medium, one Hindi medium probably.
Ours is English medium, sir. It's a CBSE school, and we teach in English medium only. But I think they are not really confident in spoken English. Maybe
That's it. That's
not
even
coming.
even like that's very difficult because you must be in your school must be in a tribal area probably.
Right, sir. Yes, it is.
And your clientele is even maybe in certain area they may not be proficient in Hindi even.
That's true, sir.
Sir,
This
in
is
the same problem is there, sir. My school is Hindi medium school, and when I encourage them, try to encourage them, just ask me any question. Only 2 or 3 students likely to ask me, but most of them just ask me yes no questions and not any without encouraging it is very difficult to get any question from students. So what solution is to apply there so that we can hear questions from them, sir?
वही मैं I just want, this is one thing which is, I mean, again, of course, because your client, your client, you're teaching difficult clienteles. Difficult in the sense, I mean, I'm not saying difficult in other sense, but language is one of the barrier. I think so. It's a big issue because they are thinking in their language and you are teaching in other language. So it's very difficult. But I think the teachers have to do continuously encourage them to have, and sometimes they you you can have kind of peer assessment type. Any student is putting questions to them and in their own language or something like that. This, I mean, you have to come out of books. There is no remedy for that. But this is one area where we have to work. Yeah.
One thing I use to apply, sir. I ask them to make any 5 to 10 questions and write it in the their rooms, and come with the questions next day. Out of 60 students, 15 to 20 students do regularly. But I am trying to get other students also encouraged in written form of questions. But let us see.
Speaking is always difficult. Even you if you remember your school days, you can write. I mean, there is a lack of this thing in, I mean, in government schools. I found across the country, and we have to find out something to, that. I mean, for example, this is one good way to. I want to say that only, that you can ask them to write questions, whatever they have learned before starting. For example, you have taught something today, then ask that whatever questions you have, please write down. And then before starting second class, before starting second class, you can discuss their questions and let them answer students only. I mean, you can use peer tutoring there, peer assessment kind of thing. For example, me and some other child is there, A and B. There are two children, and then I have written something, and then let student give them answers, not you as a teacher. I think that will also encourage them, and then you have to encourage students, those who are doing well, and you of course that you have to look into the students which are keep quiet. Something like that you have to look into it. I mean, but if the good thing is that we know this is a serious problem, then I mean, and later on when you are doing, for example, you are doing this strategy, somebody must be doing another strategy. Then you can have multiple kind of strategies also. Yes, but there is no one solution fitting to all. But of course, I think the language is one of the biggest hurdle in that. They can't, for example, that madam was saying, they can't express themselves in English, I'm sure. And even in question asking, no, it's a difficult. Even if we have to ask question in some conference and seminar, we also think twice, no? You look into, I mean, you
जी sir.
कहीं मैं पूछूं नहीं पूछूं. So, but it's student has to ask it. Then it would be beneficial for teachers most. You will come to know. But since you are applying this strategy is also very good that you come up with questions. And another thing which I just want to add to you, sir, that whenever you are discussing those questions, let the student answer first and then you explain it.
One more problem we generally face, since we have a targeted syllabus. That means
I
if
know.
we see so 28 chapters, 25 chapters, we have to complete before November. That means कि suppose we just pursue students की daily one student. That means there are 60 students.
I
So we
know.
can't complete the syllabus. That's why we are having, we could not follow the students regularly. Only 2-3 students we can check their copy. Only 2-3 students we can ask questions so that we can complete the syllabus. है ना?
I know. I
Even
know. I know.
we need to take evening classes to complete the syllabus. Only completion of syllabus is the main motto as well as main target. है ना?
I know. I know.
So
I know. We have to.
because वो जो एग्जाम हो रहा है रिटर्न का ही रिजल्ट देखते हैं, बोले क्या सीखा है उसको कोई पूछने वाला नहीं. रिजल्ट क्या आया भैया? हाँ ऐसा आया तो ठीक है भैया, यू आर गुड टीचर.
No, there are
Thank you, sir.
certain things which you have to do for system. But whatever I know, every teacher is very serious and they have wonderful ideas also. But we do have some systems limitations also. But whatever out of box you can do, please do it. And uh, it's a kind of that still I'm also looking in the regions of why students are not asking questions. Languages, I also found language is one of the barrier. Another thing which I found is that whatever you are teaching, if they are not appreciating it, for example, if I am teaching mathematics and I'm teaching in a very abstract way, I'm not relating to their real world life, they will not ask questions. So you have to relate, you have to make contextualize also. We always say that you have to contextualize things while teaching things. So if you're doing this, then they may ask more questions also. But it will come slowly also. In class 1, they will ask less, class 2, they will come up more, class 3, and so and so. It's not that all in one grade you will train them like you know anything. That's not possible. Yes, please. I think we have to find more more solutions for that. Yeah. Yes. Anybody else? Oh, I'm not able
Yes,
to
sir.
stop sharing out. I don't know how to do it. This. Acha, stop video. Stop video is there. I don't know.
So I think we'll have to end it here. And I would really like to formally thank you with all my heart, sir, for such a comprehensive presentation. It has been like, just like you are a storehouse of knowledge, your presentation was like covering almost everything that is important for our teachers to take back and, think on. And thanks a lot, sir, to you for problematizing this crucial issue of asking questions coming from students. And you have rightly said, sir, it's really very important. And just like you consider it as a serious issue, I'm glad that I could see the chat box, and there was this Gitanjali Bhushan ma'am who wrote that there's hardly any question put by my students or even her observations backed, and the district experiences that she was sharing. And this is true for most of the schools which even we have visited from NES, sir. And on this, we would really like you to take up a follow up session, sir, on
Yes,
how
sir,
to
sure.
encourage questioning amongst
Yes.
students.
Hmm.
And it would be really beneficial, sir. And I'm really confident that whatever learnings our students, our teachers and principals have made today in this session, they are definitely going to apply it back in their own context, and will benefit immensely from that, sir. So thank you, sir. Thank you so much for sparing time and making your sharings on this platform, sir. We are really obliged and grateful to you, sir. Thank you, sir. And
Thank
thanks
you.
to all our principals and teachers who had joined in. Now it's an off day for you tomorrow, and we'll come up with a new session on Monday. So see you all then. Thank you, sir. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Thank you. I'll share some people are asking PPT also. I'll share with you, and then
Sure,
you
sure,
can
sir.
you can share with them.
That would be really kind of you. Thank you, sir.
Yesterday's PP also. Is it? Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, I will share. I'll share with Dr. Ashu. Then she can share with you. Thank you very much for your interactive session.